I was doing my everyday workout, the steps that I need to put in, and I got a download. So I'm going to share this word. Having manners goes far beyond saying excuse me or thank you. It's another level of having good manners that self-mastered people exercise. Like when they feel envy or jealousy or anger, they don't just react like the animal kingdom, which is where lots of people are at the bottom with the animals. Because to be human, you're animal first, and if you never teach yourself how to be human, you'll be stuck in your animalistic ways. And so when they feel these emotions, they don't just react. They first identify the trigger, and then they move from there. These low negative emotions are not in the driver's seat, are not in control of their life. They have control over their lives, over this body. So my last video I was talking about how men take credit for things that they didn't even work for. Like, men are so shameless that they would even say they created the air. I'm looking at a bee. And so I also said how women love to serve and be servants, and how I went to this school that women were okay doing all the chores. I think it's a kind of programming that girls get at a young age. I think I was above the program because I've never been that kind of person. Like I also observe people in parties and women are serving random men. There's nothing wrong with serving your husband, but why are you getting a plate for a random stranger? It's either you want attention or you want that man to validate you. I don't know. I never really understood it. All I have to do is sit somewhere and someone will all I have to do is sit in a corner and there'll be someone disturbing me. Like in the last event there was a man who kept doing. And I would ignore him, but every time I tried to turn to the side he kept, like, you don't have to do anything. So I don't understand the whole performative things women do. So when I said all those stuff about men and women, men went crazy because humans hate the truth, both men and women. The minute you start to call them out, they attack. And because most people are not master, they're attacking from an animalistic place, which is throwing insults, being passive aggressive. And men don't men are very insulted when you say you're not serving, or like a decision like going celibate will annoy men because they're like, how dare you not give it away to other men? It doesn't even have to be the one who's getting offended. They're offended because how you think you're better than the others. Your role here is to serve. Most men think that most women are here to serve them. Random men. Like you are created solely to serve, and you better fall in line because that's your role. And so when you show people who they are, when you become the mirror, people will try to break you, break the mirror, because they don't like the reflection. People will try to humble you. People will try to attack you. But I've gone through so many ego deaths and humiliation rituals over the course of my life that at this point I'm like, what else you got? And I believe it was all preparation to strengthen me for this path that I'm on. Because dealing with a lot of humans can be draining. Because most are stuck at the lower level, the animal level. And you know, taming animals is a hard task. But at least animals eventually fall in line. Now, humans, because they have a brain, they will fight you because they don't want to do better. They don't want to get beyond the animal level. And you know, men that are usually offended by you not serving, or maybe you making certain decisions to better yourself, the men that are usually offended are the bottom level men. You will never hear a self-actualized man call you out because you're not being of service to random men, or you're preserving yourself or your body, or you're not giving away your time and your energy to people. They'll never get offended because they understand what self-actualization is. They know that not everyone is deserving. There's this man that I met in my early 20s, and he kind of set the standard for how I should be treated. He was a real gentleman. And I think it's because he's traveled a lot. He's seen other cultures and races and how they do things. So I think he's a bit open-minded, a bit... I think he understands a lot. Like every time I met him, whether it was coffee or just lunch or dinner, he always sent me money. And before him, I'd never met a man who was, because I met him when I was 21, and he has never touched me. And I think he understood what feminine energy is, and he was just giving an offering. to having this feminine energy, spend time with him. I believe he was paying me for my time. The least amount of money he ever sent me was 3,000 Kenya shillings. And he once told me that I would make a good research scientist. When I was a little girl, when I was in primary school, I wanted to be a neurosurgeon other than being a fine artist. My dream was to become a neurosurgeon because the brain has always intrigued me. Like, I wanted to learn everything about the brain. And also psychology. Like, I love just studying the brain and human behavior. And so when you study, especially men, a lot of that fantasy goes out the window. The whole Prince Charming, the whole men are better than. Just because someone was born male does not mean they're smart. I have seen a lot of incredibly stupid men. And I've met incredibly stupid women. Like, it's not a gender thing. Being smart is not a gender thing. It's an individual thing. Being mastered is not a male thing. It's not a female thing. It's an individual thing. And so once you realize that being born male does not automatically mean a man is smart, then you will stop idolizing males, because there is a certain group of women that worship male just because they were born males. They can be airheads. But just because he's a male, the woman gives him a pass. If you've ever watched the movie Big Eyes, where this woman was a painter and her husband used to sell the paintings like his own, he would take the credit. And when she finally took her power back, he was very annoyed. I know women who provide in their homes or do even more than the men in their lives, but the man takes all the spotlight and pretends like he does everything. I see it all. Self-mastered humans, whether male or women, they know what it takes to master self. And you would never hear a self-mastered man getting offended because I value my time or my body and I don't share it with the randos, random men. The same way that man used to pay me for my time, there are men who actually take and take and take and don't value just being in your presence. It's always the men at the bottom that get offended with certain things, like you're not sharing yourself, or you're not sharing your time, or you're not doing certain things. The ones that don't have anything. Most men are benefiting from the power structure that other men created. And even though that system is in place, they will never do anything with all those benefits put in place. They will remain mediocre and at the bottom. So if you want to get out of the animal kingdom and become a mastered human being. My email is in the bio. Upgrade. Leave the animals in the animal kingdom. Leave the bottom feeders at the bottom and ascend out of your animalistic ways. It's always a pleasure teaching people who want to learn.